Peter Harold joins us now from Panoramic Resources. Peter, congratulations on an auspicious week for the company. You've resumed production of nickel from your flagship asset. Tell us about this landmark.
Yeah, look, it's very exciting. It's been 2.5 years on the sidelines, and it's just great news that we actually turned the mill on and we're producing concentrate again. So very, very exciting. Culmination of a lot of hard work over the last couple of years, but yeah, it's great to be back in production again.
So you were in production for a solid, was it 12 years before a 2-year hiatus?
Yeah, we turned this project on first in 2004, rode the bull market up to 2007, and in 1 year we made over $80 million of profit out of this project alone. And then it was a bit tough through the 2000s, the late 2000s, and into the 2010s and on. And then we put the asset on care and maintenance in May of 2016, when the nickel price got down to $3.50 a pound, and the sort of seemed like the world was coming to an end. And then obviously with the resurgence or the sort of the growth in the demand for electric vehicles, the outlook for nickel improved a lot, and demand for stainless steel increased as well. And we did a feasibility study on the new ore body we discovered, Savannah North, which turned out to be excellent. It's got a higher grade of nickel, it's got double the grade of cobalt, and also it's got copper credits as well. Did the feasibility study, went to the bank, borrowed $40 million, and in July of this year we pressed the button again. We've been doing the plant refurbishment, getting the mine started again, and that's all culminated in turning the mine on again this week.
Speaking of this new ore body, we understand you found some additional elements there, some copper and some cobalt. Tell us about how this affects operations.
Yeah, so this ore body is, just to give you a bit of an idea, when we started the last mine, which was called Savannah, we had about 45,000 tonnes of nickel, so it was a 4-year project. We then discovered the ore body below the 500 fault, which was called the Savannah Deeps. There was another sort of 60,000 tonnes there. So before we shut, we mined about 95,000 tonnes of nickel, plus about 50,000 tonnes of copper, about 5,000 tonnes of cobalt. This new ore body has got about 175,000 tonnes of nickel, so it's sort of twice the size. The cobalt's probably about 15,000 tonnes, so the grade of cobalt is double, and about 70,000 tonnes of copper. So it's a much bigger system. It's about 700 metres to the north of Savannah, and it's about 1,000 metres below surface, but we're already down close to that anyway. So all we have to just do is do a drive across about 700 metres and we're into the new ore body. So at the moment we'll mine the old ore body for about another year, and then we'll be ramping up to full production out of Savannah North. The great thing about Savannah North is the grade of nickel is about 20% higher. So the grade's about 1.5% nickel, and the cobalt grade is double. So what will happen is we'll produce around about, when we're going at full production, about 11,000 tonnes of nickel compared to about 7,000 tonnes per annum last time, about 6,000 tonnes of copper compared to about 5,000 tonnes previously, and double the amount of cobalt. So we'll be doing about 800 tonnes of cobalt instead of 400 tonnes. So when you look at that in terms of a revenue split at today's prices, we would probably get about 70% of our revenue from nickel and about 15% from copper and 15% from cobalt. So it's very much a polymetallic mine and very much focused on some of these, battery and electric vehicle metals, being the nickel and the cobalt in the battery, and the copper obviously to provide the power to the motors.
Will this new higher grade ore body be processed in the same way?
Absolutely. So we'll put it through the SAG mill we have on site. We'll be putting the production rate up a little bit. So previously we mined at about 800,000 tonne a year. We can mine this ore body a bit faster, so we're going to mine at the rate of about 950,000 tonnes a year. It goes through a conventional crushing and flotation circuit, and we produce a bulk concentrate, which grades about 8% nickel, about 5% copper, and about 0.5% cobalt. We ship that to Wyndham, which is about 240 kilometres by road, and then once a month we ship that out in a bulk ship to China, to our customer there, and then they process it and produce the finished metals.
Yes, tell us about that customer in China. Tell us about offtake. We understand you've got 100% wrapped up.
We do. So when we started this mine back in 2004, we had a deal with Jinshuan, and that deal ran until 2020. However, when we decided to put it into care and maintenance, we parked that contract up, and then we actually went out again with the new ore body and went out to the global market and did a global tender. And we got some very aggressive bidding at the time, which was about a year ago, for the offtake. And what was pleasant was that Jinshuan came back with the best offer the most aggressive bid, so they upped the terms from the old contract, and so we've signed a 4-year deal with them, which commences with the first shipment.
We have been touching on prices and of course the electric vehicle and battery revolution that we're seeing now, pushing forward battery metals. Can you tell us about your take on the outlook for nickel prices in particular, and also those for copper and cobalt?
Sure. So look, I think nickel, we've seen the nickel price, when I first started back in the nickel business, I think the nickel price was about $3 a pound. I've seen it go up as high as $20 a pound. I've seen it back to $3.50 a pound. We know at $3.50 a pound, no one in the nickel industry makes any money, so we know that's not a sustainable price. And the long-term outlook for nickel, as you said, is very good. I mean, 70% of the world's nickel goes into making stainless steel, and the stainless steel market, or the stainless steel demand, has grown compound on average about 5% per annum since 1970. So it's a big market and growing by 5% per annum every year pretty much. So it's about a 2.2 million tonne a year market. So you've got 70% of that 2.2 million tonnes going into nickel, but you've got this growing demand for the batteries in electric vehicles. It's forecast to grow to somewhere between 300 and 600,000 tonnes, which is a massive increase in about the next 5 years. So the demand for nickel, class 1 nickel for batteries, is huge, but you've still got this strong growth for stainless steel. So the outlook for nickel is very good. And the supply side looks pretty tight. I mean, you've got new production coming on in Indonesia, but there's very few other big nickel projects that are going to get financed, especially at these sort of prices. So you can see a tightening up, and you can see therefore prices recovering. So most forecasters are talking about nickel prices between $7 and $10 a pound. It's currently $5 a pound. So there's a lot of upside there. We make money at $5. We make a lot of money at $7. We make a lot of money at $10.
So Peter, we do want to give you a chance to enjoy this momentous occasion of being back into production, but I will ask you, what can you tell us about those next milestones to come?
Yeah, look, well, certainly the next milestone is the first shipment, because that's obviously cash in the tin. And then what we have to do then is develop across to Savannah North. And the major project there is we're putting in a 900-metre vent shaft. So we're well underway. There's a few milestones to hit between now and the full production out of Savannah North in about 12 months' time.
Peter Harold, thank you very much.
Danielle, thank you.